Coming up on the channel today, I'm going to feature another one of my rare Pink Floyd sets. It's rare as of the shooting of this video, and I'm hoping for a repress, but I'll show you some details on it coming right up. Pink Floyd is one of those bands that I have just loved for 30 plus years now. I've featured a lot of different Pink Floyd records on the channel so far, and they're easily my favorite band of all time. And they're one of those artists that you would never think would suit themselves well to a best of or a collection, but record company's gonna record company. And both labels here in the US that Pink Floyd have been on over the years have issued many different collections and greatest hits and compilations and that type of thing, from a collection of great dance songs to works to relics. And in one way or another, they're never really satisfactory at all for a Pink Floyd fan. I mean, many of us Pink Floyd fans pretty much listen to entire albums at once, so it's kind of hard to come up with a collection that's satisfactory to listen to, because all of the tracks on Pink Floyd albums go so well together and were made for that reason. So I've never really loved or hated a lot of the collections that have come out over the years, but the one that I think really is the best representation of Pink Floyd as a whole is this one here that came out in 2001. This is Echoes, the best of Pink Floyd. Now again, if you're a hardcore Pink Floyd fan, you probably think there's no way that this could be the best of Pink Floyd, but they got to title these things something, and I feel like this is the best overall representation if you were going to get someone into Pink Floyd, or if somebody really didn't want to buy a lot of Pink Floyd records but they want most of the songs they know. This is a great place to start, and on top of that, it has not only a lot of the things most people would want who's a casual Pink Floyd fan, but it also has quite a few great, what I would call gateway tracks that would move you into maybe wanting to hear more from Pink Floyd. This was released in November of 2001, I believe. As far as I'm aware, there's only ever been the one vinyl pressing of it so far. As of the shooting of this video, this is the only pressing that exists, the original 2001 pressing. They've been reissuing and reimagining so much Pink Floyd stuff over the past 2 years that I would be surprised if this doesn't see some sort of repackaging or reissue. But for now, for whatever reason, it's only received the one issue and it's hard to come by. This particular set was issued on 2 CDs, I think, and it's split across 4 LPs here. I think it's fantastic packaging, which you would expect from a Pink Floyd record, but just very cool looking art that kind of tells the tale of the band over the years. On the outside, both sides of the slipcase is cool. The main picture here almost being reminiscent of like a Umaguma type album cover, at least that's the vibe I get from it. The actual LPs themselves, if you pull them out of the slipcase, are in 4 individual LP packages, which I like a lot, or excuse me, sleeves, LP sleeves, which I like a lot. Again, different variations on the cover art and on both the front and the back of each sleeve, which I like a great deal. Again, very high quality look back at the band history, and which I like a great deal. The only issue that I personally have with this is on each individual record there's another printed inner sleeve, which is great that they at least did a printed inner sleeve, but on top of all of that, there's no way to really fit in like an anti-static sleeve into this set and still keep the printed outer sleeves, or inner sleeves, excuse me, that it came with initially. So for me, that's a bit of a bummer. I'm certain one day what I actually need to do is get around to getting like a really big box set bag maybe, and then replace the inner sleeves with anti-static inner sleeves, and then that way I can keep everything together. But that's a very, very, very nitpicky thing for someone who, like me, who likes to put anti-static inner sleeves on everything. As far as the records themselves, again, I really like the theming and the thought put into the inner labels on this record as well. To me, one of the big things for Pink Floyd, for me at least, is Hypnosis and the overall art direction. I know they worked with other artists, but this particular set and the greater majority of Pink Floyd imagery comes from Hypnosis and, of course, the great work in Mind of Storm Thorgerson. So for me, I just like everything about the packaging, from the outer slipcase all the way through to the inner labels of the records. It just adds to that cool mystique and aura that Pink Floyd has. And for me, it seems like a lot more thought was put into the art direction of this particular best of than you see with a whole lot of compilations, and certainly with compilations from Pink Floyd's own past. So I like the art direction a great deal. Now, at the beginning of the video, I touched on the track listing a little bit on the album. Again, I think this is probably the most complete look you could get if you're going to do a broad overview of Floyd from Piper at the Gates of Dawn on. For me, there's some really cool interludes and things that, like I said before, if you take tracks from The Dark Side of the Moon, that record flows so well together that it's almost impossible to think of those songs ever fading into another song. But they did some cool remixes on here that I like a great deal. You would never think that Us and Them would fade into or split into anything except for Any Color You Like. But on here, not only does it not do that, but it goes into Learning to Fly from A Momentary Lapse of Reason. And I just like the way they did it. They did some cool editing with audio at the end of Us and Them. So the last word in Us and Them kind of echoes out much further than it normally would, and then that ramps up into Learning to Fly. So little things like that I love. They also did yet another remix of Shine On You Crazy Diamond on here, more like Floyd was doing on the 1994 tour, to include parts 1 through 5 and 7. Again, I'm a huge fan of parts 7, 8, and 9, but you can't go around throwing that full song onto collections, and again, same thing, the title track for this collection, Echoes, gets a truncated version of the song on here, and they really don't cut all that much. But again, when you take a song that initially took up the entire side of the metal LP and you try and include it on a compilation, you're going to have to cut some of the tracks, so they do a truncated version of it on here. And again, for me, I think I would never bust this out and say, oh, I'm going to listen to the shorter version of Echoes. But I think somebody getting into Pink Floyd who might buy this for money or Brick in the Wall or Wish You Were Here might hear more of Shine On than you've ever heard before, or might hear Echoes for the first time and be surprised at, that there's this big, huge Pink Floyd song that they've never heard before. So for me, I like it a great deal. If this is your first time on the channel, side note real quick, please make sure to hit the subscribe button, or at least hit the like button if you like what we're doing on the channel. If you have any interest in joining our Facebook group too, we have a link in the description below to come join our vinyl Facebook group. But back to the Pink Floyd set. For me, again, I'm kind of surprised that this is something that hasn't been reissued, but I would be quite surprised if it doesn't see some sort of reissue, especially with everything that's been going on. But all the way across the board, I really like this as a person who would much prefer to throw on a full Pink Floyd record. This lends itself well to many different listening situations for me, and I think it would very much for a casual Pink Floyd fan, or even if you are a hardcore Floyd fan and you haven't heard what I was talking about the different mixes or the way the songs fade into each other that's unique to this record. At least give it a listen. for that reason and check it out. I think there's at least some unique things going on there. So that's a little bit about Pink Floyd Echoes, the best of Pink Floyd, the 4 LP original pressing from 2001. As I always say in these videos, what matters to me most is the community from the channel. So either join that Facebook group that there's a link for in the description, or leave your comment below and I'll be happy to get back to you. Thanks so much for watching.